diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking, cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. You already know what it is. It's your boy Scotty. You already know. Back with another one, as always. Listen, yes. I have cut. I went from dreads to fades. Okay, yeah, man. Listen, it's just a different time of my life. Okay, it's a different time of my life. You know what I'm saying? Listen, real quick. Okay, if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, I had dreads. I cut them off this weekend. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Okay, very short and sweet. You know what I'm saying? So you all listen. God hadn't been dealing with me about my dreads, so I cut them. Okay, so I cut them. Right? You know. Do a little prayer time. I be talking, listen. God don't talk to me like he, but he talk to me. Every little dreams and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? So you have been dealing with me. So, you know, you gotta be obedient, man. You gotta be obedient. Gotta be obedient to the master. You know what I'm saying? Just like Colorado's obedient to their Jesus. It's all the same. It's all the same. Just looks a little different, but it's all the same, man. But I appreciate y'all, man. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. This is the new look. You know, you gotta be a little bit debonair. You feel me? You feel me? Okay. So anyway, listen. We gonna get right into it today. It's been a lot of stuff talked about. The Colorado game was absolutely amazing. Colorado State. No matter what y'all want to talk about, Colorado State was the better team. Despite, I mean, if you really break it down, despite all the turnovers, all the penalties, all the stupid stuff that happened, they were the better team. They just didn't have the better quarterback at that point. And you'll see that in numerous of things when it comes to Shedeur, that he is the tipping point. It's the same reason he was a tipping point at a lot of situations at Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So he's the meter mover. He's the needle mover. You know what I'm saying? That's what Shedeur is, and that's when you bring in a guy like Shedeur, that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it is what a great game. Great man. You know how hard it was to get up for church in the morning? That game didn't go off until 2:30. And then I work on the AV team, so I gotta be there like 8 in the morning. Oh man, that joke was tough. It was absolutely tough, right? So it just is what it is. All right. So today's topic is, if you can see it, it's real small. Black Jesus is in Boulder. Black Jesus is in Boulder. That is the topic today. Listen, man, there's so much going on in today's media space and things like that. So I'm going to be very clear about this. A lot of people can have a lot of issues with what I say, but one thing about it is I'm going to say what it is. And then two, I've been on this position. The funny thing to me is the funniest thing that I love about the whole thing is seeing Ohio State fans switch. Oh, it's so beautiful. Now, I get HBCU alums, you know what I'm saying? They be ride or die with HBCU, so I ain't really tripping off that. It's the Ohio State fans that have now, sobered up off, Mike Reedham put his prom Bible down. Ohio State fans and HBCU alums, they put their prom Bible down because everybody was at the meetings. I was the Bama outside the church saying, hell no, please don't go. I was that Bama. Me, by myself. one pillow, one blanket, one cot. That was me by myself outside the church. Wanted like the Muslim Bammers handing out bean pies. Come on, brother. You don't need to be doing this to yourself, brother. It's better things than this, my brother. That was me. Louis the Minister Farrakhan, you know what I'm saying, doesn't want you, my black brother, to be reading the Prime Bible. That was me. So it's just funny to me when I'm looking on Twitter how many Ohio State fans have now become anti-Prime, and I'm just like, wow. Now everybody done seen the light. Now everybody want to come to Jesus moment, right? That's what everybody want to do now. It's just funny to me. It's just funny to me. That's all. I'm just tell you what I noticed. I'm just gonna tell you what I noticed. That's all. Because I'm not the type of guy to say I told you so. I'm not. I'm really not. I mean, I kind of am, but I'm really not though. But I just in this point, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. Okay, but we're gonna continue on. So, listen. I'm gonna give y'all, because I know y'all done read this, and listen, because I know y'all got the Prime Bible. I know a lot of Ohio State fans still subscribe to the Prime Bible. I know you got it in your trunk, in your car, you know, on your dresser. It got a little dust on it. You still reminiscing, you know what I'm saying? But you done got it. And I know, in turn to 2 Prime, chapter 12, verse 2, it says, it was the chain he shed for me. Okay, see, the reason you're upset now is because the white man done got a hold of your black Jesus, and now the white man has been capitalizing off of it. That's why you're upset. That's why you're upset. Okay, that's all. Because when black Jesus was there, because I remember when Ken Clark said it's an allegorical story of Jesus Christ. I remember. You don't remember that? When he was on, this was before they was on YouTube. They was still in like Radio Land and Spotify and shit like that, right? They was on, and Ken Clark, bald-headed still, out of his mouth said, it's an allegorical story of him being Jesus Christ. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? I remember that. See, a lot of y'all don't remember it because y'all new to this. I'm true to this. I've seen all the stages. Right? So now that it's just, now we here in white America, right? Now black Jesus has touched down in white America. Now everybody up in arms. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh, black Jesus. Come home, black Jesus. Right? But once again, if you turn to your Bibles, 2 Prime, chapter 2, chapter 12, verse 2, it says, it was the chain he shed for me. It was the chain he said for me. Oh, Tex Coco. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody who's been watching me for the last 2 years knows he said it, knows he meant it, right? Because I was all this. I was all that. I said, hey, man, I said, you don't want to use Martin Luther King. You don't want to lose Sojourner Truth. You don't want to lose Harriet. Damn, use Harriet Tubman. Jesus? You want to use Jesus? So I just thought it was fitting. You know what I'm saying? Since Ohio State fans call him Jesus, but you know, okay. Anyway, so let's talk about this, right? Let's go a little deeper. Let's talk Rick George, right? And he's the AD of. It used to be Colorado. It's called the Prime Christian Center. Okay, like I'm not calling them Bama's Colorado anymore. It's called the Prime Christian Center. Right? That's what's up in Boulder, right? That is what's up in Boulder. It ain't Colorado because Colorado ain't done shit. Colorado ain't worth shit, ain't done shit, okay? It's called the Prime Christian Center, PCC, right? Up in Boulder. The PCC up in Boulder is what we are now officially calling the Prime Christian Center, right? So he is now the AD of the Prime Christian Center. So my thing is this. I want people are giving Rick George way too much credit. They are giving this Bama way too much credit for being a white man who did a business deal. That's all he did. I just want to be very clear. He woke up. He was a white man. Hey, Ain't shit going on in Colorado. Let me take a chance on Prime. Now, the chance that he took was, hey, if he did that at an HBCU, what if we gave him some facilities and he did that for us? That's not a hard choice, right? That's what recruiting is. That is all recruiting is. Oh my God, this kid did this in high school. Maybe he's going to be good enough to do it in the SEC. That's not taking a risk, right? There's no risk involved. If the kid been killing, you're like, he either going to be good or he's either going to be bad. But you've seen the fruit of what you have. You have substance. You have substance to make your decision off of. A diamond in the rough is a kid that had never played football before, and you're like, yo, he's 6'5", he's never been on a football field. Let me make him into a football player. That is a risk. Kid never played football. You don't know what you're going to get from him. A basketball player, wow, 6'3", can jump out the gym. Whoop-de-doo, right? That is the risk that is involved with that. When you've seen somebody with a product that has been successful, right? There's what risk? Colorado was ass. And this Bama was probably on his way out of a job. What risk? What risk? When you on your last leg and your last straw, you just like, hey, F it. If it work, it work. If it don't, I'm fired. That's literally where Rick George. Must I remind you of Rick George's record at said Colorado? Okay, he had. I wrote this down. He had one winning record and that was 2016. They went 10-4. Right? And then in the 2020 year, they went 4-2, but that really don't count because they could have lost the rest of their games. So that don't even count, right? So in 8 to 9 years, he was absolutely ass as an AD. Any other body in record, you're getting fired, right? You're absolutely getting fired. So let's not act like he was this high level athletic director who had been killing it for so long. He was absolutely ass. He was ass. The program was ass. You needed Black Jesus to step foot on Colorado to infuse Colorado. That's what it was, because even if Prime didn't win, you would have won off publicity and notoriety alone. You would have made your money back off that 5-year, $30 million contract. Just simply off of the excitement of Prime. So there was no realistic risk. And then in the interview with Jim Rome, he says this, right? His emotions on his sleeve, but this was different. You could tell that George found his diamond in the rough and was ready to get Coach Prime cooking at Colorado. What diamond in the rough? A diamond in the rough is something that's hard to find. Prime was out in front of everything, even in the HBCU space. He was on Good Morning America. He was already on 60 Minutes. This is his second 60-minute interview, right? He had already been killing it in the FCS, had won pretty much every conference game he touched on. So explain to me how this is a diamond in the rough. Now you could say, oh, Scotty, that's FCS. This is Pac-12. That's lower level competition. This is this and this is that. I'll give you that, right? I'll give you that. But you know what does not change? You getting an icon. You getting an icon does not change. You getting a cultural icon in a sport that is dominated by 80% of ninjas is not a diamond in the rough. Listen, if anybody ever seen Blood Diamond, you know when the Bama grabs the diamond with his feet, that's Dion. That's what Rick George did. He found a big ass diamond that was just sitting down in front and slid it. Oh, let me go ahead and get this. And I don't know if you watch Blood Diamond. He's like, stop. Spread your fingers, right? When he's trying to check for diamonds and make sure nobody stole none. That's literally all Rick George did was literally put his foot out and slide it back to himself. Like, oh, nobody else going to hire this black man who winning everything? Nobody? Who's a cultural icon? I mean, that's literally what he did. Oh, nobody else? Oh, I'll take that chance since my program's so bad for 200, Alex. And people give this man credit. People really be giving this man credit. Let me go to some of these call logs. 5293 coming to you.
Scotty, what's going on, man?
What's up?
Good show, bro.
What's up?
Ready. I got two things I want to say. First of all of the HBCUs, I mean, alumni, and I'm one of them. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, he left. And I'm still hearing that chatter why he left and he did this JSU or just black college wrong. He was the Messiah, he was the savior. I have a problem when you have over half of your alumni base that could be doing the same thing, not at his level, but far as giving back to the universities, building up their own facilities. And I understand because primarily like ours, it's controlled by a state Republican-led government, but there's still things you can do to kind of help that stuff out. And we didn't do that. So for all those people who are out there hating on Prime, and I'm trying to figure out what are people really hating about. And that's the biggest thing.
Okay.
Doing what he said he was coming to do.
Okay. Okay. Let me say this. I'm going to let you go, right? This is my issue. With some of it, I agree with you. Some of it is just like you're hating, right? I get that. But there is some part of Powell State that did not want to jump on board with what Prime was doing. That's facts. Listen, I've talked to some alums that's really close. They say, yo, the president was Deion's biggest headache. And if your president is the biggest headache to the movement of what Prime is doing, how is Prime supposed to do anything? You get what I'm saying? So
right.
there's a two faction to that.
He's alluded to that.
Okay, appreciate it though. Listen, hold on. I gotta check. My wife just texted me. All right. So listen, there's two parts of this thing, right? Two things can be true. That one, yes, that Prime didn't do everything he was supposed to do. God called him collect, blah, 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 blah. But we all know that. But there is another side of that the biggest headache for Prime was the president, and he wasn't on board for everything that Prime wanted to do. So there is there's some rubber has to meet the road in things like that, in decisions like that. TG, call back a little later, TG. I got to finish my points. All right. So this is what it is, right? So going for it, I want to say this. What did he have to lose? Okay. Nothing. You know why? It's because Colorado was ass. Does anybody not realize that? Does anybody? I got the records right here. Okay. Can y'all see that? Barely. They were, look at that. Ass. That's what that says. Ass. 40 and 65. I did the math myself. That equals to ass. He had nothing to lose. He literally had zero stuff to lose when it came to hiring Prime. Listen, it's like when people tell you, man, you done hit rock bottom. All you can do is go up. That was Rick George. Before it became the Prime Christian Center, right? It was Colorado, and Colorado was absolutely ass. So where did he have anywhere else to go but up with Prime? But up. You're going to listen, man, I keep trying to tell y'all, man. When you get Prime, you get cool. That's just natural, right? That's like when you go to, not everybody can cook, but you know what I'm saying. When you go to a black grandmama house, you know, okay, I'm gonna get cooking. That's automatic. That's just automatic. You know, when you go to a black grandmama house, you're gonna get some good cooking. That's automatic. Now it's how she cooks. It's all little nuances, right? Little nuances. When you get Prime, the cool factor just falls on you, right? The Prime, I don't want to say, the Prime spirit of coolness just falls on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that African joke? Money fall on you. Money fall on you. That's just what happens when you're around Prime and he's in the mix. The coolness factor gets laid upon you. right? Because you talking about a grown ass man that's over 50 wearing overalls and a cowboy hat on a Fox interview and like, hey, that's pretty fire with the chains on, with multiple chains, right? And be like, hey, Monty, I see you. Call me back in a little bit, right? So it's like that. That's what cool. That's how cool I'm telling you. I try to compare y'all. I keep trying to show y'all. Like, there's just certain icons that can do certain things that just transcend regular status type stuff, right? Like I said, Michael Jackson wearing high water pants. That shit ain't cool, but you know who made it look cool? Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson wearing too little clothes. Nobody, you wouldn't do that at your job. You wouldn't go out on, and you know, now the little suit pants and showing your ankles and all that stuff. That stuff's cool now. But back then, and like that wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in the 2000s, like in the 2000s when I was growing up, high waters, that stuff would get you laughed out of school. But you know who made it look cool? Michael Jackson. Right? Michael Jackson. That just is what it is. Remember the big shorts in the, like, when the Fab Five and everybody was wearing the shorts. You know what I'm saying? Here come the Fab Five with the long shorts, bald heads. They made that look cool. That's what Deion is in this day and age. It's not too much he can't do that makes stuff look cool. So when I really want you to break it down of what did he have to lose, he didn't have shit to lose. Not even a little bit. Right? But what we really need to focus on is this. Who took the bigger risk? Whose risk was bigger? Listen to me. See, this is the shit that nobody wants to talk about, and everybody in the white media spaces and white corporate America and all you primates, you know, when they're at Jackson, now they Prime Christian Center, all that type of, this is who took the bigger risk? Whose risk was greater? And it was A.D. Robinson's by far. It was A.D. Robinson's, and it's not even close. You're talking about having a football icon who had only coached in high school, right? His son in high school, giving him a major Division I program that was, I wouldn't say they were legendary, but they would say they were legendary. A legendary program with the Walter Paytons, the Robert Brazils, you know what I'm saying? The Jimmy Smiths, that has a football pedigree to give him his first coaching job in an HBCU. Now, you can sit back and say, okay, George Floyd and everything, they ain't got shit to do with the football field. Yeah, I can get you with the going back to HBCUs and going here and going there. I can give you all that, right? You know, people wanting to give back to their own. But when you're talking about putting your job and career on the line, Ashley Robinson, if that shit would have failed, couldn't touch another AD job. Rick George is a white man in Colorado that had been the AD for 10 years already and have been losing. There's no risk to that. There's no risk to that. I'm sorry. There's no risk. But you're talking about Ashley Robinson, right, who had been successful at PV. He comes back home to the state of Jackson, city of Mississippi or whatever. I mean, state of Mississippi, city of Jackson, right? He's a native trying to change the culture, change the program. He steps out and gets Prime. That, from what I have been told, he had been courting him for 2 years. He had been courting Prime for 2 years to get him to come to Jackson. That's how much he believed in Deion's ability to do what he said or believe what he could do to the program. And listen, and legitimately change college football forever. You're not understanding. See, you're not understanding the nuances and the webs that get placed back to Ashley Robinson's decision. Colorado is still ass if Ashley Robinson does not hire Deion Sanders, because there's no way Rick George is going to hire a black man icon that had never coached at the Pac-12 level. So when you see the problem that I have is Rick George is getting a lot of credit for shit that he it's like Christopher Columbus. Oh, I found America. Ninja, it had already been there. What you mean you found it? No, your butt just stumbled upon it. It had already been found. It had already been dusted off. It had already been put on a platform. All you did was just say, hey, let me put my name on it. Let me put my name on. Let me stamp Colorado on it and tell you, look what I found. You get what I'm saying? See, that's what all this stuff drives to me. It just like, I don't want to call it white validation because I think it's a little nuance to that. But there is like a credibility thing to it, right? Like, oh, we got to give Rick George a lot of credit for going to get Deion. For what? If he would have stayed his ass at Jackson, he would still be dominating the SWAC. He would still probably be the hottest head coach in America. Now he's super special. Why he's super special? Because he's doing it at a white school? Because he's doing it at a white school with more facilities, with a beautiful view. What? Are we not? I'm not understanding this. I'm not understanding how people can take a situation and like I saw on Ryan Clark's Twitter was like, you know what I mean? Because he's like, oh, wow, Shador is doing this and doing that. And somebody from the HBCU was like, he had already been doing it. And then Ryan Clark responds, well, you know what I mean. I'm just talking about on the major stage. Like what? What are we talking about right now? What are we talking about right now? It really boggles my mind how you can pluck something out of something and then drop it somewhere else and say, look what I found. Look what I did. I don't know, man. It just like when I'm watching it and I'm seeing it from afar, it's just crazy to me how quickly this thing can spiral into something that is like, because if we like, once again, all this proves to me, and what really bothers me, all this proves to me is how much black people really move the needle. That's really all it proves to me. If you really want to be honest, this just shows me how much black people really move the needle. But what it also shows to me is how HBCUs have to do better business, right? Not promotion, not media, not just business. Just do better business, right? Because there's things that Prime is doing for Colorado that he had not done for Jackson because, listen, Jackson came to Prime as the side chick, right? They came to Prime as, oh, you're doing us a favor. And Rick George, yes, he knew Prime was helping him out, but there's a level of supremacy that Rick George is always going to keep on Prime, right? That's why you see Travis Hunter jerseys being sold, right? Because Nike, that's why you see that Jackson is no longer with Nike. Who are they with now? Under Armour. Prime didn't push that shit on Colorado. Prime didn't walk in there and say, hey, yo, listen, real talk. Hey, I can't fuck with Nike no more. If it ain't Nike, if it ain't Under Armour, he didn't do that to Colorado. Matter of fact, he said in an interview that he would never work with Nike ever again. Now he making shoes with Nike. So there's always a level of supremacy because it's a white man. Oh, I'm preaching today. Oh, I feel like I'm preaching today. There's always going to be some level of supremacy that Deion feels like he has to bow to because there is a white man in charge and they do better business. Okay? So now the simple fact of the matter is now Deion back with Nike. Deion making shoes with Nike. Deion rocking Nike everything. I ain't hard to find. Check mark, check mark, check mark. Got check mark on his socks. Got check mark on his socks. You feel what I'm saying? See, that's the situation that gets played because everything that Deion did for Jackson, there was a percentage that got kicked back to Deion. Deals, promotions, sponsorships. I would be curious to see did that at Colorado. I don't know I don't know that for a fact at Colorado. I know that for a fact at Jackson. I don't know that for a fact in Colorado. But it's just like I said, it's just funny to me. It's just funny to me. I mean, listen, man. I'm gonna just call. We're gonna keep moving forward. We're gonna keep moving forward. Right now, at the Prime Christian Center, they're no longer in Colorado. They're called the Prime Christian Center. Now, at the Prime Christian Center, what has changed? This is what happens when you get. This is called the Prime Effect, right? So now the Prime Christian Center gets to experience all this Prime Effect that they supposedly found. Right? That they had such a high risk to do. It says the Buffalo sold out their spring game selling tickets for the first time since 1980s, netting $200,000 in profits through 2 games. Nearly 16 million viewers had tuned into to their games. From Boulder, Colorado community seeing a familiar return from the former NFL MLB star's arrival in a video release by well-off media. Shout out to Bucky. The coach was heard speculating that Boulder community had made $18 million off of the home opener in Nebraska last week. Right? Now, once again, can I say this ain't new? This isn't new. The city of Jackson was like the dog when Deion touched down, and you're talking about a stadium that does hold 60,000 people, right? They got some broken bleachers, so let's just say 55. They got 55,000 people, right? That doesn't include all the ninjas outside tailgating. They had another 5 or 10,000 for that. So you're talking about a city impact that was talking about like 15 to 20 million a home game. Like, what are we? Hotel, restaurants, all that. So it's not nothing new in Jackson, Mississippi. Am I just confused when people are? That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, man. The shit ain't new. What Rick George is doing. All it is simply getting put on Fox News, Fox Sports. That's all it is. And what's really even crazier, and I know I'm going to go off topic real, it's Offscript, always on point, never on topic. What's really disheartening is Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp is real disheartening in this whole situation, right? It's funny, when I was getting my haircut, I met an alum from Savannah State who was, he's probably in the same age bracket as Shannon, and he went to school with Shannon at the time, right? And we had a conversation, and he said, you know what, Scotty, you know what's really frustrating to me about the Shannon Sharp situation is that we don't even need him to cut a check. His appearance, with his brand, him being on First Take, his appearance, his physical appearance at Savannah State would change a lot of the income issues that they have. See, the thing to me is, I'm feeling it now. The thing to me is this, right? With Shannon Sharp, this is what makes me so. This is like when people sit back and they be like, people call him Unc and stuff, and I respect that. He's an older man. He's funny. He's all that. But when you really sit back and get to the nuance of it, and you're like, okay, you said on many of interviews that you wouldn't take 6 months of your relationship with Skip and let it distinguish 6 years of your time with Skip and what Skip had did for you. Now, I flip that and throw it back to you because the guy told me that Shannon Sharp had a problem with the administration. And I would say to Shannon, so you're telling me you would let one administration outweigh what Savannah State has done for you as a whole? That's asinine. That's idiotic, because if you're talking about a white man who publicly embarrassed your ass on live television to millions of people, you wouldn't let that small 6 months of where he disrespected you affect 6 years of a relationship, but you'll let an administration stop you from helping your school that it did so much to give you the opportunity to play in the National Football League. Now, what sense does that make? If that's not white validation, I don't know what is. If that's not white validation, I don't know what is. Because at the end of the day, the administration is not Savannah State. The administration did not give you the opportunity. Savannah State did. And what you do for Savannah State, I get it. I get it. Crooked administration, all that. But there are ways to impact your institution without having to always cut a check to administration that you don't know where it's going to go. There's always ways. It's always ways to give back to Savannah State if you don't feel your money is right. Just showing up, showing love to the kids, going to games, going to homecoming. There's ways to give back outside of just giving a check that can still impact Savannah State. But that's neither here nor there. But you get what I'm saying. Like it's just a lot. It's just a lot going on right now. I'm sorry. It's just a lot. Anyway, let's continue on to Prime Christian Center, right? So this, right? This is what Dion is at the Prime Christian Center. According to Ticket IQ, Colorado holds the highest average ticket in college football, knocking off Ohio State. The Buckeyes now ranked second at the Ohio State. They have been winning for the past 10 years. Ohio State was knocked off by Black Jesus. Listen to me. Black Jesus stepped foot in a white space, stepped foot on a white campus, and they have knocked off Ohio State as being one of the top premier tickets in college football. If that ain't amazing, I don't know what else. I don't know what else. That's crazy. Let's continue on, right? The biggest story in college sports is primetime. Paul Feinbaum said on the Tony Kornhauser show, I've covered college football for more than 40 years. I have never seen one individual completely take all the oxygen out of the sport. That's what happens when you combine an icon with football and winning. Once again, what you fail to realize is he had already done it in an HBCU space. It would have been, listen, he could have taken the air out the room in FCS. In FCS, he could have done it, right? But when you're not given the same attention, when you're not given the same prevalence or the same of reverence of because you're doing it here and because you're doing it there, that's literally the only difference. Now, I will be the first one to say I ain't like Prime with them soft ass schedules. I agree with you on that. Listen, you know, listen. I ain't like Prime with all them soft ass schedules. I not wanting to play FBS and all. I get all that. I hated it. So you already know how I stood on that. But I'm talking about literally. If you look, listen, you can go back and look at YouTube analytics, right? And this is what I say. You got to do better business. And this is why I say Dr. McNugget is the dumbest commissioner on the planet. Because literally, if you go look at the YouTube analytics for the last 2 years of him being in HBCU spaces, it literally changed. It changed everything. Literally changed everything on how HBCU and the football HBCU is being covered media-wise or whatever, right? So when you take that electricity out of it, it sort of dies down. There's still like rabid fans, but it dies down. And all you did, listen, who can play that game? Who's watched that movie? I have, right? In the movie, it says energy, and he's using Newton's laws. Energy is not destroyed. It is merely moved from one party to the next, right? That's literally all that happened. The energy got moved from one party to the next, which is Colorado, right? And now that it's in Colorado, it just has more eyes on the stage. That is it. That is it. That is it. Thank you, Jersey Shiest. Right? That's it. It is what it is. So let's continue on. Right? And lastly, before we get to the 60-minute interview, I'm going to take calls after this. The Buffs sold 130,000 worth of tickets in just 3 days following their TCU win. They now have the second highest year-over-year ticket price increase in the sport, now sitting at 327% per Ticket IQ. Once again, Rick George didn't have shit to lose. He didn't have nothing. When you're, do I need to show this? Do I need to show this again? When this is your football record for the last 10 years, you ain't have shit to lose. He didn't find shit. He didn't do shit. All he literally did was, hey, I see that black man being very successful. I want to try here in Colorado. I'll pay you more. We see it all the time in music, sports, or whatever. I will pay you more. How much to leave? How much to sell your masters? How much to sell me the patent? How much to sell me your business? It's no different than anything else that gets taken out the black community. How much would that cost me to profit off of it? How much? That's literally all he did. How much would it cost you, Prime, to come? Ain't no God. Let me take these callers. 2713 coming to you. They calling you live.
Yeah, this Offscript.
This is he.
Hey, how you doing?
I
have to agree with you on a lot of those the points you're making, right? But you know what I said last time I had called and talked to you? There was a discussion me and my brother-in-law had. And he said that jealousy is one of the biggest problems within the black community between black brothers. And one was the president at Jackson State, that. And the thing about it, right, and everybody said like how the point you made about it's been done before, that's true. And they be reminding them. I sit there and listen to Shador, and I looked at the Travis Hunter in their little interview. He said, we done this before. We did this at the HBCU. So what you're seeing is you ain't seen it before. And I think Dion said that too, because of the TV stuff. Now he tried to get the TV rights and stuff up there for Jackson State. The president shot it down. That's the reason Jackson State don't have that president right now, because that president just.
That's not true. All right, 7899 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, thank you, Scotty, for taking the phone call. Thank you for taking the phone call, man. Look, I've been trying to get in touch with you for two years. I'm the guy that said that you got to be something special, but I figured it out. I had to use my son's iPhone, stop using my Android. Look here, Scotty, I want to say a few things. I'm going to wring your neck if you stop covering the SWAC in Jackson State. I'm going to tell you, I'm a Jackson State fan, but I love your content. My son, he hit me on to you because I unsubscribed, I remember a whole lot of people, but it was something about you, not because you're a Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio too, but it was something about you, about what you were saying. What I want you to do is continue to say what you're saying today. Me as a Jackson State fan, you don't want to see another black man do bad. You don't want to see them children do bad. But I knew they was going to target those kids. But this is what I wanted the DDRs and the prime minister to understand. When you go and you tell a nation of people that we're going to do it this way, we're going to say that we're going to show that the HBCUs can do this and HBCUs can do that. It was a movement. I seen the movement here in Jackson, Mississippi. I could see it. I could see it transpire all over the country. In 3 years, those Power 5 schools would be just like a junior college. It'd be just like it was in the 60s and 70s. It was getting to that point. They was going to start decommitting to those big schools and going to more HBCUs. It was going to be a more level playing field. But this is the biggest point that the DDRs is failing to realize. You just turned your ass and said that the white man's ice was cold. In 2 years, you was going to be higher than Eddie Robinson. In 5 years, he would have been the king of HBCU. And somebody was going to, I'm quite sure people were going to get together and be able to find if he needed the money. But it wasn't about the money, that what he said. I just hate when DDRs get on here with this false information. But Scotty, today, I want you to do this quite often. I want you to keep up with the content that you have, because it's fun. It's fun and games. I'm not a big baby. I can take. I'm a Scorpio. I can take criticism. I can take what you're saying. But I know I'm gonna tell y'all this. Scotty don't hate Jackson State like that. He's over there in the DC area. He came over here and didn't realize that we had that soul too. And we love you, Scotty. You know we love you. You know half of your subscribers and your listeners are Jackson State fans. We love you. And don't stop covering it, brother. Please don't stop covering us. Please don't stop covering the SWAC. And Jackson State, look here, Scotty, we could take that vet. I want to say this because a lot of people listen to your program. The biggest thing, I'm going to call back again, but the biggest thing about that vet, white folks gave them the vet and farmers market right across. All those years, they didn't have sense enough to go and tear down those old buildings, the big super garage. That go your park. Take the end zone, because the alumni used to always sit in the end zone, Scott. Take the end zone, take half those seats up top of the end zone, and build some alumni luxury boxes. On the opposite side, you can take from 40-yard line, 40-yard line, build some luxury boxes over there. 40-yard line, 40-yard line on the first tier with backs in the chairs. You can charge $90 for those seats on both sides. And then you have general admission on the rest. So you'll probably reduce it down to about 45, maybe 48,000 fans that can get in there for seating. That's all the renovations you need to do to that stadium.
All right, I gotta let you go. There's a lot of callers. Appreciate it. Thank you for the call. Hey, listen, callers, y'all stay with me a little bit. I got a little bit more to do, and I'm gonna get to all the callers. I promise you. You can hang up and call back, but I'm gonna get to you. I promise you. Let's get to this, right? Let's talk about this 60-minute interview, because this is where it all drubbed up from, right? It's like when you at the crib and you playing outside, and you kick over a log and you just see all these bugs and stuff. This is what happened, right? So I'm gonna play you a clip from the 60-minute interview and things like that. Here we go.
Game last season.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, in a way, a point of appeal?
God wouldn't relocate me to something that was successful. That don't make sense, do it? He had to find the most disappointing and the most difficult task. And this is what it was, and this is what it is. And I love that.
This wasn't dissimilar to what he told us last year, that God had called him collect to come to Jackson State University and elevate, yes, the football program, but also all HBCUs.
Switch!
He stayed 3 seasons, but the same night last December that JSU won the conference championship, Sanders announced he was off to Colorado to climb another mountain.
You left Jackson State, and you left quick. What did you tell those
I
kids?
didn't leave
What did you tell those kids?
I didn't leave quick. Let's slow down.
You
I didn't leave quick. I left when I was supposed to leave. We finished. Most coaches get a new job and they leave expeditiously. I finished the task.
You say finish the task. Was there more work you could have done in Jackson? Or
I think we did a tremendous job in Jackson. I think we laid down a tremendous blueprint.
Okay, let me stop here. It's some more that comes to this. I promise you, we're going to talk more about it. This is the part of the story that me and Tahoe State fans are going to differ. I told you from jump. He was leaving. Everybody said, no, Scotty. God said. Dion said, God said. Mike Reed, who was the vice president of the Prom Bible Association, PBA, right, told me every time on the show, no, Scotty. He said God called him. And I kept telling y'all that is a very finicky line to play with when it comes to God. I said I didn't have a problem with nothing Dion did. Him leaving, coming, going, that's coaches all the time. But when you put God in it and you said God sent you, it's you play. Listen, the black culture does not play well when it comes to biblical Christian. Yes, we have Muslims and all that type of stuff, but when you talk about God and Jesus and all that stuff, you're playing with fire, right? Because then there's so many attributes that you can come, right? Like, see, listen, me, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, right? God don't care about football. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you, right? That's why people say faith and football, right? It ain't football faith. It ain't football God, it ain't none of that. It's faith and football, right? So I bring my faith to the sport of football. God don't give 2 shits about football, right? Well, if God had called you collect like you said he did, then God cares about his people involved in the HBCU community. God cares that, hey, your impact will change my people. And you can that's biblically, right? God had always sent a prophet into any situation in Babylon, in Egypt, in any situation. God had sent somebody to pull his people out because you perish for the lack of knowledge, right? Or the vision, or whatever you want to call it, right? So it wasn't for football. It was for the elevation of HBCUs, but I believe, and I'm speaking on my opinion only. I believe it was for the elevation of business. It was for the elevation of ingenuity, thinking outside the box of what you could be, right? I don't think it was all necessarily, recruiting and it. No, Dion is a walking listen, I've told y'all, Dion can teach a class tomorrow at Howard or Harvard on marketing. That's just how he does business, right? That's just how he moves. He's a master marketer, right? So I don't believe it had anything to do with football, but I did believe it had to do in the business of when people say, because people love to pick and choose about like elevation of HBCUs. They're like, how does Dion affect my recruiting? I'm at Alcorn and he's at Jackson. It doesn't help. No, what you should have been doing is taking notes on how Dion was marketing himself at Jackson, how his social media was popping or buzzing, and taking those attributes of how to get you out the dark ages, to get you into a new age of media, right? To pull you reluctantly out of your old ways. That to me is why I think God had called him collect to come here, right? So my thing is, and this is my opinion again, it's all my opinion. What was finished about that? What was finished about that? Because I would ask, and I'm not saying God loves black people more than white people. I'm not saying that at all. All right. I'm not saying, because God's people is all people, right? Like I said, God don't give two shits about football. So what to me? I just need to know. I would just love to hear. Listen, I'm gonna pray tonight. I'm gonna just ask God, hey God, what situation would you want to bring the people out of Boulder out of? Because I keep telling you, God don't give two shits about football. But that's just my little 2 cents. Right? So let's continue on.
We tried to press Sanders on the circumstances surrounding his abandoning the mission at Jackson State. He's hinted the school's lack of forward thinking may have factored in his decision. But on this topic, he was about as elusive as he was returning punts for touchdowns in the NFL.
What'd you tell those kids when you left?
Opportunity called.
Okay, see, this is where, this is the part of me that if, so you can't start your conversation. See, this is the shit that pissed me off about prom. And I'm gonna keep on the buck with you. There's no continuity in the lie. Keep the same lie. You can't say God had called me to Colorado and then on the flip side you say it's an opportunity. This shit don't make sense. If you just keep it a buck. Just keep it a buck and just say, you know what? I wanted to change. Listen, I love what I was doing here at Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And just keep it an opportunity. Just say opportunity. Just keep it there. That's what I don't understand. Wow, God wouldn't take me out of one situation to a successful situation. So it wasn't about God. It was about the opportunity. It was about, and there's nothing wrong. Listen, I want to be very clear. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with him wanting more money for his fellow coaches that have been coaching with him since Little League and don't make the money that he makes. It's nothing wrong with that for trying to look out for your people. There's not your inner circle. There's nothing wrong with that. Not at all. Dion is a super loyal person. He's loyal to the guys he runs with. That's cool. That's great. Just don't lie about it. Stop throwing God in every, yes, God has given you the ability to be who you are. God has given you the platform that you have, but stop putting God in everything when it's simply about the money and the opportunity for your kids and the people that you've been rocking with. That is the part that burns me up because you literally just said, God wouldn't take me out of one situation and move me into a successful situation. That ain't got that. Then how do you come back and tell the kids it's an opportunity? It's an opportunity. Continue.
Sooner or later in life, there will be opportunity that knocks at your door. And at this juncture in my life, I felt like the opportunity for not only me, but for my kids as well, was tremendous. Not only did we take several kids from that team.
Not only did you take the talent that you recruited from that team, that's really what you're saying. So the kids that you brought there to change the culture and to change HBCU, no longer did we take them with us to Colorado, which I recruited them in Jackson to say, hey, we're trying to change the narrative. Hey, our players should come back home. Hey, no, we didn't just take those players with us. Like that shit ain't cool. That shit ain't cool, man. Like, I listen. Yes, it's part of the business. I get it. Lincoln did it when he was at Oklahoma and took Caleb Williams with him at USC. I get it. But see, the problem that occurs is why. Listen, man. Okay, listen. If you're talking to a chick, right, and we've all dated a girl. This is what Dion did, right? I just want to be very clear. This is what Dion did. In my personal, this is what Dion did. When you're talking to a girl and the girl asks you, do you want to be married? Or do you see yourself marrying? You like, I wouldn't mind being married, right? I don't see nothing wrong with marriage, but you know in your heart of hearts, you're not trying to marry her. You just trying to smash. You just trying to dip and dash. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel when it comes to Dion. It's like you're sitting there telling these kids, come back to HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? Bring our HBCUs back and go back home and do this and that. And you can still go to the league there. And then as soon as another opportunity comes calling, the same players that you recruited to Jackson to change the narrative, you take them to Colorado. So in the heart of hearts, in the mind of minds, it's like you really never cared about the players coming back home. I mean, that's all it tells me. That's all that tells me. Because it's different. It's different at a PWI when they know the game is the game and the game is the win, right? The game is the win. That's all they care about. So when you recruiting these kids, the game is the win. That's it. It ain't about changing Oklahoma's life and changing Oklahoma's status and all. Oklahoma gonna be Oklahoma. Texas gonna be Texas. Ohio State gonna be Ohio State. All they care about is getting wins and championships, right? That's it. But when you recruit a kid and you walk into somebody's house or basement or over the phone and you tell a kid, hey, come with me to Jackson to change the narrative, to change, coming home to play for ourselves and play for our people. And then you take the very same kids that you told that story to Colorado. It's all faulty. It's like it's kind of like a RICO charge, and everything that you touch and now it makes you question everything that you touch, because it's just like, what was your motives and intentions anyway? Yes, Jackson should always be grateful for what you had done. But then the way you left makes it seem like if it wasn't about your need and your benefit, what was it really about? It ends up not being genuine at the core of it. You get what I'm saying? I'll let the last bit finish.
3 trainers, maybe 12 to 14 staffers. So we are afforded to give people a tremendous opportunity here.
It's an opportunity there. And I'm going to just show you a couple tweets that I saw that really, listen, man. I'm sorry. This one's really, this one set me off. Listen, I love Uncle Luke, right? I love Uncle Luke. He does a little Twitter janks. When I saw this on Twitter, I'm like, what the people be like, why do you, this stuff is so stupid. You had white people in sports bar in Miami rooting for Colorado State, who they know nothing about, because they don't want to see a black man from Florida, Deion Sanders, succeed. That's the world we live in. God is doing something special through him, letting the world know who is racist and who's not. Keep your eyes open in these times. Listen, man, we all know there is racism in America. It ain't nothing new. We see it on Fox News every single freaking day, right? The thing to me is this. there is people that just, you know me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I remember when the Yankees were like just running shit. I would root against the Yankees. I remember when Kobe Bryant was on that three-peat run, I was rooting for Sacramento. I was rooting for San Antonio. I was rooting for anybody to beat the Lakers. I remember when the Patriots were on their run. I was praying to God that the New York Giants won the Super Bowl. That is not the same. That is not the same. There are just rudimentary things in sports. There are just rudimentary things in sports that you hate to see some teams succeed. And I do believe some people just don't like prom, so they want to see them lose, right? That's cool, right? But there's rudimentary aspects in sports that you just want to see certain teams fail. Because everybody's so high on this team. Everybody, like when the Warriors were doing their run, I wanted to see them lose. I wanted to see the Warriors lose. When LeBron was with Miami, I wanted to see him lose. Now that he's not with Miami, I love LeBron. Listen, I've always been a LeBron fan, but he went to Miami. I thought that was some weak stuff, so I just wanted him to lose. And shout out to my Mavericks because we did the business, right? So that's just the rudimentary stuff in football. That's the pure basics of sports and anything is this, that people are going to root against people they don't like. I won't say it has nothing to do with color, then I'll be lying. Yes, do some people just root against Deion because he's black? Okay, yeah, okay, that happens. But then there's also aspects of rooting against in just pure sports that you don't want to see the team win. It's just that's sports. Like, I don't get it. That's just a dumbass thing. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, there's white people in Miami rooting for Colorado State. Okay, cool. That's how sports work. You pick a side. What are we talking about? What are we talking about, man? Come on, man. Stop it. I hate stupid stuff, right? Shout out to Coach Reed. All right. Shout out to Coach Reed because she comes out. She says, y'all made Jackson. She added 60 minutes. Okay, just to be very clear. Y'all made Jackson, Mississippi look horrible. You should be ashamed of yourselves for showing the worst house you can find in America and making it like that describes us. I'm not even sure if that abandoned house you showed is even in Jackson. This is my home. Shout out to Coach Reed, man. Listen. You gotta watch how people depict. Like, listen, y'all know I call Jackson State Pothole State, and I you know, it got potholes. I ain't lying, right? But you do have to be careful about how media predict. You're talking about a national broadcast station. I mean, that like 60 Minutes is like the white, it's like white everything. You know what I'm saying? Like 60 Minutes is like 60 Minutes, right? So it's just you do have to be careful about how people depict your city and things like that, because there's parts of Jackson that don't look like that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, that's what they to give you the emotional, like, oh my God, look where he came from and look where he's at. They're gonna do that, right? Because it's their job to tell a story. It's their job to tell a story, and that's what they did. And the fact of 60 Minutes is doing their job of telling a story and getting the perspectives and the you know you did something well in media is if it's a hot topic and everybody's talking about it. Good, bad, or indifferent, that is the name of the game. Is you want people to talk about you. You want people to be talking about it and looking at it and passing it on left to right. Did you see what 60 Minutes said? Did you see what 60 Minutes did? 60 Minutes is like 1, 2, 3 million, 4 million views. They counting it up. So it just is what it is, right? All right. Last thing, and before I go, and shout out to my boy Hezekiah. Hezzy says, I sincerely believe universities should issue, he's talking about Jackson, should issue a statement about the 60-minute feature. We simply cannot take this line down. Now, what in God's green earth would make you think that that Jackson State University would make a statement when they didn't even make a statement about Deion saying that they were stealing money? Nobody remember that? Nobody remember that? Nobody remember that? Nobody remember when they came out and was like, Deion was like on EYL, Earn Your Leisure, and he was like, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. You don't remember? Nobody remember that? And he was still coaching for you all. Nobody remember that? Everybody got amnesia now. Ninjas just forgot. It's just funny to me. So why would they make a statement now? You didn't make a statement then. Why would they make a statement now? Oh, we can't take this line down. Okay, you took the last one lying down. You didn't say nothing about that one. Let's get to these callers. Mr. Bugs, coming to you. I see you, Dre. I see you, 92923. What's up?
Scotty, what's going on, baby? How you doing, big time?
Good.
Man, a good topic, man. Very interesting perspectives concerning Deion for pro as well as against him. The 60 Minutes video was very interesting as well. Also, I agree with Coach Hezekiah concerning showing one bad or one house. Man, stop doing it to these black towns, man. Go and show the entire context. Now, getting to Deion concerning the business side, I believe that Jackson State dropped the ball here because success should be colorblind. Because of the fact that it's safe to say, I like what you said. You said all Deion's doing is basically carbon and copying what he did at Jackson State, and he brought it to Colorado. My question is, why couldn't we, as HBCUs, really Jackson State, see that from where you started from to where you ended up before Deion exited? Why couldn't we actually come to the table and do good business to keep that same vigor there? And they could have attracted more coaches. You have Terrell Owens there now, and he's literally trying to learn how to run a college football team. You have a lot of these other NFL players actually in the Colorado locker room trying to learn from Deion. That type of effect could have been going to HBCUs. My question to you is, why couldn't Jackson State see this was actually coming, and we could have did better business to keep Deion there?
I think the issue is this, right? When you come into a relationship and you feel like somebody's doing you a favor, right? Like, you're not going to see him as an employee. They never saw Deion as an employee. You know what I'm saying? They saw Deion as a savior. That's how they saw Deion. So they treated him as such. They never held him accountable to do business aspects. Listen, I think Rick George sees Deion as his savior for his job, but he's not. But at the end of the day, he gonna be an employee. He gonna do what I tell him to do because we done paid you. Sure. We done paid you, $5 million or however much they paying him for 5. You know what I'm saying? Like $25 million or whatever, $5 million for 5 years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We done paid you $5 million. Oh, you gonna do what I tell you to do. And I think that aspect was never translated over to Deion. Why? Because Deion was paying for players to eat. Deion was paying for players to be in certain housing. Deion was coming out of his pocket for a lot of situations. So he's like, this is a partnership. If anything, this is I'm the big dog in this situation and you the little dog. So once that was flipped on his head, Deion was like, yo, I don't really need y'all for much. I'm just here to build my brand, help you win, and then I'm out. And that's what the opportunity comes out to be.
Well, I'm rocking with you, but I'm here seeing the comments, and they're saying that JSU could not have afforded him. Here's why I have a little pushback there. You had Rick George, and again, I want to be cognizant of Colorado's dealing with bigger boosters, right?
Bigger
saying,
boosters. Yeah.
Sign this dude said, we got to find the money, though. We don't have the money. We got to find it. But there's a vision there. Now, when it comes to JSU, I understand that you're competing with Colorado, different donors. Here's my question. If Deion is so important to the culture of HBCUs, could we not have approached the Master P's, the Shaqs, the Diddy's, our multimillionaires and say, yo, we're trying to build something here in HBCUs, guys. I'm rocking with you when it comes to kind of money flowing at HBCUs, maybe some issues, but let's kind of get a blank slate and begin investing in our own. Why can HBCUs attract those dollars as well? My own people.
That to me, that's a whole different conversation, right? Because now you're dealing in the sense of, well, will they have stipulations on the money? Will they even give the money? Can we get the money? Do they want to support HBCU? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many avenues. See, listen, what you see now is people see Deion, right, and they see the success, right? So now everybody's going to want to get on that wave, so they don't mind being a part of a video shoot. They don't mind being on a platform. They don't mind being on well-off media. They don't mind doing it. Why? Because they just riding the wave. Because they know once Deion, if he keeps winning, the wave's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger. So all they doing is literally just riding the wave of whatever else. So if Deion needs something, if Deion calls up Michael Strahan and says, yo, I need this, or he calls up Master P, hey, can you do this for me? They're going to do it for him simply because of the notoriety they're going to get for doing it. A lot of that stuff they do for HBCUs, you're not going to get the same notoriety that you would at a Colorado that has Fox News and ESPN College Game Day all on the campus on the one day. There's never a time in history you're going to see ESPN College Game Day and Fox Noon Kickoff or whatever, or whoever else you want to add to that, Pat McAfee show, all in an HBCU at one day. Never going to happen. So it's just a lot of stuff that comes with it. Last point, Mr. Bugs. Yeah. One last point.
Too much time.
Yeah.
How if that's the case, how did College Game Day show up at JSU?
Oh, because of Deion. But what I'm saying is that the level of what College Game Day did at Colorado and what they did at Jackson are two different things. Two different things.
I got you.
They're just two different things.
I got you, man. Great conversation, man. I love it, man. I'm listening to the comments, man. Thanks so much for the time.
Hey, no problem, Mr. Bugs. Appreciate the call. Let me go to my usuals. Dre, coming to you.
Hey, what's up, man? I think it all comes back to winning. And with him winning at Jackson the way he did, Rick George took a chance. And you could probably bet half of the country was like, there's no way he's going to win. Even you said, I don't think he's going to win this quickly. The fact that he's won so quickly is like the country wasn't ready for that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now he's proving like, you know what, I'm winning. If you can't put it on, I'm only playing in this conference. I'm winning, and I'm beating the teams that y'all thought I couldn't beat quickly, because it still comes back to winning. If he wasn't winning, none of this would be happening.
That's fair.
So I think maybe on the Jackson State side, it was like, okay, I think half of them was like, okay, I don't think they wanted the kids to lose, but I think they wanted Prime to lose. So like they could take Shador putting up 500 yards, but Prime taking the L. Now since he's winning, and let's say they're not having the same success on the field also. So that also has something to go with it. Your old girlfriend is basically winning the same way as he did when he was there. There's almost really no difference. So I think it's always going to come back to what you do on the football field, keeping the main thing, and everything else comes around. Because if he was 1 and 2, you wouldn't have no problems. But because he's winning, and when Prime wins, it magnifies everything else. So it's always going to come back to winning and losing. And like he's done all his life,
he's winning. That's facts. Hey, appreciate the call, though, Dre. That's a good point. That's all Deion does is win. All I do is win, no matter what. JB coming to you. Hey, listen, guys, I got to keep this short and sweet. Got a lot of people on the calls, but JB coming to you.
Hey, Scotty, how you doing,
sir? Talk to me, man.
All right, sir. Okay, great topic as usual. I got to admit, I'm kind of missing the locks and stuff. Be like the nice cut, man. Have the good stuff, man. I'm glad to see you changing up a little bit. Okay, a few things. And I actually had to write these down. Number one, people talk about salary, how much we could pay Deion. Folks, no FCS team could match what a P5 pays, period. Matter of fact, if there are any FCS people in here, you guys would know, I think that Deion's and Hugh Jackson's salaries are among the highest in all of FCS football. Let me say this again. Their salaries are among the highest in all of FCS football. So in terms of getting them, more money to pay Deion Sanders, there was no more money to pay because no one in the FCS could actually match what a P5 offers. That's number one. Number two, he's a football coach. Now, here's what I mean by that. People talk about what he said about HBCUs bringing God into the conversation. The job of a football coach is to create buy-in and to create a following for their teams. That's his job. His job is to have eyes following them His job is to have people following them and watching them. That is what he did, and he was successful at it. He wanted to make this about an HBCU versus PWI conversation. Folks, this is about people following his program. He would have done this at any school, whether it been JSU or Bethune-Cookman or South Dakota or Colorado, where he is now. This was about where he's at. And this is also on us, too. And here's what I mean by that, Scotty. Now, bear with me for a second. We at HBCUs, we wanted him to be the next MLK, the next Malcolm, the next Marcus Garvey, the next Fred Hampton, the next Juwanita Kunjufu. This was always about coaching football.
But no, negative. He didn't make. Hold on. He didn't make it about just coaching football. That's the problem. You can't say that when he came in talking about, oh, I want to bring players back here. God called me to do this for my people and this and that. That's what made it, the conjecture made it bigger than what it was supposed to be. I agree with you. I've always looked at this as a business move. Once I saw he was going to coach his son, I said, I know exactly what this is. You're trying to make your son a situation, put your son in a perfect situation and give him a situation to where he can succeed, which is cool. But adding all the other surrounding aspects of it is what made it bigger than football, because Deion made it more than just football.
Here's my only pushback, though. Here's my only pushback on this. And I see where you're coming from with this, and you're right about that. But here's the thing, though. For people who actually know what coaches say and what coaches do, did he say that because he believed it and wanted to get us in, or did he say it because he wanted to create a following for his school? Those are two different things. Because saying it and trying to draw people in, which is what head coaches are supposed to do, but what he did was he said, okay, let me say this, actually get people to follow me, get people to root for me, get people joining stuff. As Deion said in the interview last night, it was about a business opportunity. What he was doing was that he was actually using us to a certain degree and using our love for our Lord Jesus Christ and our love of religion, and love of God, to draw people in. He played on our emotions, and a lot of people went for that.
But
for him, it was always about coaching.
There's a difference between coming in and saying, hey, okay, you know what? I'll give you a good example. I remember when Shaka Smart first touchdown at VCU. I love it. Anybody go back, look at that press conference. It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? He's like, we're going to be tough. We're going to be fast. We're going to press. We're going to do. He's talking about the game of basketball and what he's going to try to infuse into his team. I get you when you're talking about that. That's not what Deion did. Deion came in as a bishop, right? Leading the choir. And he's talking about what God had called him to do for all HBCUs, for black people, for this, for that. That is all conjecture, and that's literally like a politician telling you, vote for me so I can get in the office and I can give you all the stuff I promised you that I never will. That's literally what Deion did. And once again, I don't have a problem with Deion leaving. I get it. Your friends are now making life-changing money. I would do it for my friends. I would do it for my people, right? But I wouldn't come into a space and be like, yo, I'll never turn my back on HBCU football. I never. You know what? I'm here to bring all HBC media together. I'm here to make sure that HBCU Game Day and Swag Buzz and Ken Clark, we all come together and build our own 247. I would never say that. And then 2 years later, you see me on FanDuel by myself. You're like, damn, Scotty, where? Bro, you don't remember what you said about what you was going to do for all HBCU media?
But this also goes around too to what we as a fan base as well, because and by the way, I saw that press conference too. Probably one of the best press conferences I've ever seen when Shaka Smart did at VCU. Props on that. But at the same time, though, VCU was also known for making deep runs in the tournament. And Scotty would talk about this all the time. How many of our fans are actually football fans? How many of our fans are actually following the sports aspect versus the culture aspect? Deion knows the HBCU fans follow the culture part more than the sports part. That's my pushback on that.
Okay. No, I get it. Listen, I agree. We all know HBCU fans aren't football fans, right? But listen, just because you did it doesn't make it right. And I get what you're saying. You're like, did he do this to get the people involved into following the program? They were going to follow anyway because you're freaking Deion Sanders. and you're coaching for the first time. So I don't think it needed all that. I didn't have listen. I don't have a problem with him saying God told him to take this job. Listen, you leave it right there. I'm good because we black. We know people. We know black people love God. Well, everybody got their religion, but most black people, we believe in Jesus and all that. So if he just simply said, hey, God told me to take this job. Cool, thank you, God, because we needed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you just clap it up. But when you add all the extra stuff, that's where you call. That's where people can have something to hold you accountable for. Because you're like, bro, you doing a lot of extra talking, and I don't see. It's no different than when a pastor can. Listen. This is how I look at it. If a pastor gets on the pew and says, you shouldn't be shacking, and then before you got married, you were sleeping around with your wife, like what are we talking about? You're like, bro,
that's true.
You was knocking down your wife before you got married. Now you gonna tell me to stop shacking? Oh, hell no. That's not, we're not doing that. So that is my issue with what Prime is doing. It's all the added extra stuff that made it worse. It wasn't that he believes in God and nothing like that. We all mostly believe in God. It's all the extra stuff, man. But hey, yo, appreciate you, bro.
No problem, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. 9223 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Scotty.
What's up?
Scotty, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
This is Marquez. Hey, man, I just want to say this. You said, about Deion and the God stuff. That's cool because God might have called Deion to Jackson. And then once he got there, God called him again and said, hey, man, don't ruin your name with these folks. Get on up out of there and move on to something bigger and better, but take some people with you because Dancy is over in Colorado. Dancy was making $80,000 down here in Mississippi Valley, man. Let's just be real about what it is.
Listen, I'm not. Listen,
and those people weren't going to Jackson for Jackson. They were going there for Deion. They weren't going there for Jackson. Hell, they ran Comedy away. They were coming there for Comedy. They see how they treated him. So what you expect? So Deion did the right thing.
There's a lot of. Listen, hold on. I don't have. Once again, I do not have a problem with him taking the job. I have said that on numerous occasions. Go get your money. And I said it even on my station, on my show. I'm like, yo, what Shador does what he does again, what he's doing at Colorado, he's at best a 4th or 5th round pick. At best, because of how they view the competition. So I get the fact of the matter is that when he goes to Colorado, he's now in the Heisman race because of the eyes on, right? I get all that. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying to you is this. When you add all the extra conjecture in what your speech was about, and then, because listen, God, if you want to play this God card with me, we can do that. Because God would tell you bitter and sweet doesn't come from the same fountain. So you can't tell me that you're recruiting players to Jackson for the upliftment of the black community, to having black people come back to it, and then you take the same black players with you. No, sir. That's not what he said. See, listen, don't jump on here and try to manipulate the conversation negative, sir. He told these players, just like he said in interviews, we can play for our own and still go to the league. We can come back to HBCUs and still be great. You cannot do that and then take the same exact players and take them to Colorado and think that's not messed up. It is. It is.
It's not because they didn't go there for Jackson. They didn't go there for their people. They went there because Coach Prime was there, and Coach Prime could get them to the league or close as he could get them to the league. They're not going there for TC. They didn't go there for nobody else. They're only going for Deion Sanders. I don't care who you get. They're not coming there for Ray Lewis. They don't care nothing about no Ray Lewis. They don't care nothing about T.O. They only come for Prime. He's the only one who can do this because if this was the case, they've been playing football at HBCUs 150 years. We ain't never had a 5-star. Never. Nobody. Damn, you ain't got a 5-star.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You actually have. Listen. Shut up. You actually have. They just didn't have a 5-star ranking system back in the day. So you actually have, because if we're being honest, when those same special black players that had to go to HBCUs because they couldn't go to PWIs, they were just called blue chippers. So shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. They were called different. They were called differently. Shut up. Shut it up. Shut it up. Shut up. Shut it up. They weren't called 5 stars. They were not called 5 stars. They were called blue chippers. Shut up. Shut it up. Shut it up. Anyway, don't do that. Don't do that. They would just call something different, because who's to say 20 years from now or 30 years from now, there is no more 5-star rating. There's something different. You get what I'm saying? So just because they're not called the same thing does not mean that the players were not special. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? So stop that. And I'll tell them again, if you call in Joe Perry and you saying some stupid shit, I'll say shut up. That's exactly what I'll tell you. I'll say shut up because you're lying. Because you're lying. I'll tell you to shut up, Joe Perry. What's it to me? Call in, Joe. You ain't even got to say nothing, Joe. I'll just tell you to shut up. 48-43 coming to you. What's up?
Hey, Scotty, how you doing?
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. What's your name? Where you come from?
What I think is going on, I think Rick George is playing the long game, because he been at Colorado for 9 years and they've been trashed all except for like 1 year. So basically with him hiring Dion, that's just him saving his job, which he probably already done. But my thing is, how soon before Colorado ended up cutting Dion loose?
Listen,
because after Shador, like if you can't find another Shador, then your program is basically done.
When have you ever known of a white person to cut off a black person if they making money off them? You tell me a time. Nah. You tell me a time where when you've had a white entity, a white corporation that was making money off a black man and they cut them loose early.
No, I'm talking about like, my thing is, as long as he's winning, he's good. But the moment that he starts like losing, like if you can't find another Shador and you start losing, my thing is, how soon before they cut him loose?
It's like this. That's good. That's good. That's Royce. You're good on that one. That's a good one. Let me say it's like this. In the NFL, they call it tolerance and talent, right? So your talent, you know what I'm saying, is like with AB, right? Your talent is really high. We'll have a high tolerance. But all that prime stuff, if it doesn't equate to winning, I do agree with you. They'll be like, it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? If stuff starts to plateau and it's not going the same way, I feel you on that. But as long as they're making money, I don't see Colorado just cutting off Dion like, hey, we done with you. Nah, I don't see that happening. Last point before I let you go.
I understand. I completely agree with that. As long as they're winning and making money, like basically Dion can do whatever the fuck he wants. But my thing is, where does Dion go after Shador? Because if you can't find someone that's half as good as Shador, like we both know, like you're not gonna win. So my thing is, how long are they gonna tolerate him? You know what I'm saying? Losing, because at some point the money is gonna stop coming in, and they're gonna be like, well, okay, well we had a good 2 years, like you know what I'm saying? Like, so what is he gonna do after Shador?
We'll see. We shall see. But let me say this though. Listen, finding a quarterback is not easy. Ask Alabama, okay? I was about to do a whole show on that of the mistresses of Nick Saban, because the Bama going through about 3 different dudes, you know what I'm saying, to try to figure out who's gonna be their quarterback. It's not easy finding a quarterback and you're Alabama or your UGA or your whomever. Finding a quarterback is not easy in football. You get what I'm saying? That's just what it is. That is just what it is in college football. All right. Let me. I saw a comment. It says Dion brought a blueprint to HBCUs and HBCUs stepped on it and trashed it. Now, factory. Jesus freaking Christ. Factory Q. Right. My question. Jesus, that factory was kicking my ass. My question to you is: A, what was the blueprint? And 2, who trashed it? I just want to know what the blueprint was. Just want to know what your blueprint was. All right, Mr. Graham. Don't come on here lying no more. Go ahead, Mr. Graham.
I tell you, man, you can't tell me to shut up because I will come McDonald's.
Shut up. I don't care. Believe that. I just told you to shut up. And what?
Catch your ass and touch
you go call. That's like me coming to your house and you telling me not to take my shoes off. I say I'm gonna go take my shoes off. You call into my show. You call. I do not care. I just did. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care. I don't care. Shut up. All right, 54-56. Hey, caller, you live.
Yes, hello. I only have 2 points. Well, first of all, I love you. I love your show. You're doing a great job. You always have, and I'm proud of everything that you're doing. So my first point is Rick George. I do believe that Rick George took a risk, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
The reason being is because Auburn did want to take a risk. SEC, Arkansas, they want to take a risk. TCU, they want to take a risk. So right now it's everything so good. They have a lot of high ratings, and everybody wants to be over there in Colorado. But before it happened, all these campuses didn't want to take a risk.
Well,
as a matter of fact, they even sent Coach Prime all the way to Colorado.
Okay,
and everybody thought that was going to be a horrible decision because who wants to go to Colorado?
Okay, hold on. Let me, because I don't want you to keep going and then I can't respond to your points. None of those programs you're named were in dire straits like Colorado. Everybody that you named, TCU, Auburn, whatever, they felt as though, hey, we can get a regular coach and we will be good. They didn't want the antics that come with Deion. They felt that they didn't need the antics that come with Deion. And a lot of that stuff, you have to play some type of white politic booster game in there as well. He is a black man who is very confident, who is very outgoing, who's very outspoken. So you got to understand what it is, right? It's no different than if, when people say a culture fit, right? When you're trying to build a team, it could be baseball, it could be little league, it could be whatever, and you get the wrong player and it can mess up your chemistry with your team. Some of these institutions look at it the same way. They're like, is Deion a good culture fit to what we do here? And they say no. And those programs didn't need to really take the risk that Colorado had to. Man, nobody cared about Colorado. Nobody cared. So
now you have a good point.
You get what I'm saying? So
no. Your points are good. Now here comes the second thing. The second thing is that the reason right now everybody's panicking is because all these recruits, the reason they came to Jackson State is to go to the Celebration Bowl or at least go to the playoffs, go somewhere. And the way it looks right now with these two big defeats, and we have a very easy schedule, they're definitely not going to the playoffs. And if FAMU didn't start losing, which FAMU has a very good team, we ain't going nowhere. So next year, whenever TC tries to get the recruits, what's the selling point? Because everybody wants to go to a winning culture. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
I mean, everybody wants to go to a winning culture. Now, here comes my third point, and this is actually the most important point. The most important point is that Coach Prime did give us a blueprint. It's all about resources. Bring a person to your institution who can bring resources and media. TC cannot do either. I mean, he's a wonderful coach. He's a wonderful person. I love the hire, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a winning culture, no media, Walmart's not knocking on your door to trying to give you money. It's not going to happen. What actually Jackson State should do is reach out to Coach Prime and try to mend things.
Go ahead. You want the person that got dumped to reach back out to the girlfriend that dumped him and be like, "Hey, tell me what I did wrong." That's what you want that to happen. Would you do that?
Let me tell.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
Yes, absolutely.
You would go listen to what I'm asking. No. Listen. No. I need you to answer. No. I want you to answer the analogy. I don't want you to not Jackson and Don. Answer the analogy. If you got dumped by an ex-girl, okay, now explain it to me. Explain it to me.
Okay. Now, his first win, his first TCU win, because
I said answer the analogy. I said answer the analogy. 91-78. Hey, caller, you live. 91-78, you live. 27-90, you live.
Hello?
Yeah, you live. What's your name? Where you calling
Hello?
from?
Hey, man, what's going on? Vince, man, call from Jackson.
Talk to me.
God told me to call your show, man. Listen, hey, Dion said God called him to come to Colorado, right? What God called him and told him? White man?
I don't know.
Oh, it was God. In God we trust. Which one was it? So listen, man. Okay, a lot of these callers don't get it, man. Dion came and Dion peeped the weakness in the game, and he sold it, man. You know what I'm saying? He came down with his crew. You know, you mentioned Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan is part of his marketing team. They said, okay, we get some money back. We get TV exposure. Dion been on TV, for the last, 20 years with his sons?
Yeah, 20, 30
last
years.
17 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a promotion from the beginning. When foreigners come to America, which neighborhood do they come to first to get success? They come to the black communities, right? Because the black communities are underserved and underprivileged, right?
That's fair.
So Dion saw the weakness. And he said, I can promote this and exploit this. First thing, they stealing from me. This and that. Oh, I had to stop these Negroes from stealing. I had to come to civilize these so-called Negroes. It's been a promotional thing for the kid. And he said, I want to get them in the league. I want the white man to acknowledge us. We have black Negroes on the plant. We have good Negroes on the plantation here too. Acknowledge us. So as soon as a white corporation or white entity reach down and pull up one of the field Negroes, he gonna come calling. This is the system, man. And these black people gotta understand. It's like that song from The Wiz, Michael Jackson. You know, you can't win. You can't keep, keeping change the game. Keep drinking that drink, smoking that smoke, thinking things are going to change. We can't run a race that we can't win. So we have to run outside the line. We have to become innovative and creative. Now we got, what's the brother name? Byron Allen, who's trying to do something for black schools for our media. You know what I'm saying? You talked earlier about the contract that he had, 8-year, 10-year contract. We don't know the details yet, but still, that's a stepping stone for these black institutions to utilize these so-called degree programs in media and journalists and step up their game and create our own market. Now, that's the only example. That's the only blueprint I think, Dion, that we can learn from how to be successful within our own programs and build them up.
I agree. Listen, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, man. I appreciate the call, bro. This is my thing. There is an aspect. Listen, and I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'm gonna always keep saying it. And people gonna act like I'm such a hater. I don't be caring. I look at it like this: there are certain aspects of this game that you have to cultivate your own. You got to cultivate your own talent when it comes to broadcasters. You got to cultivate your own talent when it comes to recruiting news and getting the information out. You have to cultivate your own talent. What you cannot do is let people graduate and go cultivate at PWIs because they never. What needs to happen is a feeder system. You have to build a feeder system in HBCUs. And what I mean by that is this. Let's call it what it is. To get the bigger opportunities, your graduates are going to leave your space and go to PWIs. It's going to happen because you can't pay them what they're worth. We get that. But in the process of doing that, they need to be teaching people behind them so there's always somebody in the wings to replace them. I will give you a great example, right? My boy Josh at FAMU. FAMU needs to have about at least 5 to 6 interns behind Josh learning what he does. He does it at such a high level. But if he leaves, they don't have a Josh. So what you need to do is you need to make 5 Joshes. So just in case if you lose 3, you got 2 to teach the others behind them. That's how you build your own feeder system. That's how this works. So it just doesn't make sense to me that you have the workforce at your campus and you never utilize them the right way. Is dumb to me. Absolutely dumb. 90 number go 5124 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live. Hey, caller, you live. 5124, you live. Hey, your phone is breaking up. Sorry, man. Your phone is breaking up real bad. 0851 coming to you.
How you doing today, Scotty? Great show. Before I begin, I want to give you flowers. I don't know if anybody gave them to you yet, but who started the sports show off with a rap song first? Who did that first?
Well, listen. Technically, Dr. Cavill's has it's just not good. I ain't gonna lie to you. That is
like I said, who started it first?
But I gotta give credit where credit is due. Dr. Cavill did do that first. You know what I'm saying? It's just not a good rap song, but he did do it first.
We only count the hot ones.
So I
we only count the hot ones.
All right, yeah, I'll give you that. Thank you, sir.
All right. Now I got two points on one of them. One of them is on point, on subject. The other one is the pettiness that you would love. I think you'll love the second one. Now, a lot of people looking at the glass half empty. What Prime left HBCU to go to a PWI. But I'm looking at it half full. What would HBCU have been like going through COVID and no Prime in HBCU?
Oh my God, that's a good point. Woo. That's a good point.
So he's quoting divine prophecy. God sent you where you need it.
That's.
And he was there right before COVID.
That's good. That's good.
Let's count the blessing when they happen.
That's good.
Now,
that's good.
Second thing is the pettiness. I know you're gonna love this pettiness. So I couldn't go to the Alcorn game. I figured, well, since Byron Allen got secondary rights, since it's not gonna be an ESPN, I'll be able to find it somewhere. What kind of contract he signed with a secondary right? He didn't even kick in to cover the game, so you can watch it. But anyway, I'll leave that there. So I'm listening to the game on the Alcorn radio show, and the pettiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Leslie Frazier, who I'd already said from previous discussion when we met him at a fundraiser in Chicago a few years back, he was interested in coming back to Alcorn to coach after his after his Buffalo Bills career is over. Well, he came out with a coin toss, and Cedric Thomas, Alcorn Radio, interviewed him on the sideline, third quarter. Asked him, he said, this is the pettiest shit ever. I've never seen this before. You're going to talk to a potential future coach during the game, at the game. He said, well, then tell me, how you like your visit back to Alcorn? He said, well, I was under Marino Chasm. He taught young men how to be men. I was fortunate enough to get a Super Bowl ring as a player, again as a coach. And so now that that part of my career is over, I got some time to process and figure out my next move. So mind you, the subject is on Alcorn. Cedric's next question was, well, any coaching in your future? He said, well, you know what? I'm definitely thinking about that. And if they call, I will listen. Now, if you look at the stats time, Alcorn didn't score another touchdown the whole second half. Now, I know because I went to Alcorn, in that press box, the radio broadcaster sits in one room, the door is open, and part of the coaching staff is in the next room. I don't know what they talked about in that in them headset. But I know the same plays that was winning and scored 2 touchdowns the first half wasn't called the second half. So leave that where it is. I just think that's the most pettiest thing of all things that happened this weekend. That is the most pettiest, as petty as can be, to ask a coach who's looking for a job, are you interested in coaching? And we already know half of Alcorn's upper staff support them there, and the other half want them gone. And if anybody want a copy of the audio, all you gotta do is call Alcorn radio station and ask for a copy of the audio from the game, and you just listen to it for yourself.
What he said? Hold on. Talk about. Call who?
The Alcorn radio station, 91.7 WPRF. They got a copy of that audio. It's in the game. He interviewed him in the third quarter on the sideline.
Okay. I'm gonna call for that audio. Appreciate the call. I'm gonna get that audio. 9178 coming to you. They call you live.
Hey, how you doing, Scotty?
What's up? What's your name? What's up, Coach? Talk to me.
And man, hey. Okay, man. Hey. Like you been saying the whole show, bro. I thought college was a place you're supposed to learn. I thought college was a place you're supposed to learn, then relearn. I thought it was supposed to be learn, earn, and return. You go to college, you learn, then you go to pros, and then you come back to the college and return. That's what I've been thinking for years. You say that you need a system. Yeah, it is a system. From Pee Wee to the pros have systems. The Pee Wee team that's winning, the high school team that's winning, and the college team that's winning. They have a system in place. The system is every coach in the country said, "Oh, we family." Ain't nobody showing we family but Deion. That's why he's number one. How long he gonna be number one? I can't say. You know, and I know it's a quarterback problem. Alabama have a quarterback problem. Why? Tell me who their quarterback coach is. We fix that problem.
I just hung up. I ain't got time for that. Hold on real quick. Ain't nobody got time for that. 5124 coming to you. They call you live.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your phone is still breaking up pretty bad, but go ahead.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I just want to know why nobody really talking about how Deion put his boys in bad shape and they set them up not protecting them, man.
What do you
He set
mean?
them out like a tag down. Nobody really talking about that. They're not holding him accountable for getting his player hurt.
For getting his player hurt?
Yeah. He been preaching discipline. He been teaching smart. How smart is it to send your players out there like that and they're a target?
Send them out where? To play a football game?
Yeah. They went out beginning of the game, they was all hyped up. You know, talking all that mess. They don't normally do that. That wasn't discipline to them. They knew they were better than that team. There's no need for them to go out and talk crap to them. The thing behind that motive was saying something about somebody's mama. And I know we all know in the black community, like they said, that's personal. That whole message sent out is personal. You don't see no guys out like attack dogs. Nobody's saying nothing about this.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm gonna address that in a little bit. I'm gonna address it now. This is my issue, right? Colorado State's coach started it. Let's just make that very clear. Okay. Once you put something in the atmosphere, you don't know how. Listen, I hate when people say, does that require that? Right? Because people used to say to me all the time, Scotty, does that require that response? Right? If somebody spits on you or somebody calls you the B word or somebody calls you the MFer, they cannot at that point tell you how to respond to said issue. I hate that. Don't tell me how to respond when you disrespected me. Don't do that. I can't. That is my biggest frustration with people. They'll be like, oh, it doesn't take all that. You disrespected me. What do you mean? What it takes or what it does not take. So don't tell me that. So that's neither here nor there. My second point is this. The hit, right? I've seen a lot of stuff. The hit was dirty. Yes. But I liked it. And the reason is, listen, you can say whatever you want. I have played it in I played college football. I've played it in all levels. When you're trying to set a tone, you got to set it. And they set it. Yes, it was dirty, right? But he set a tone. He let you know, listen, we not doing none of that, right? We not doing none of that. We out here hitting, right? Yes, it was after the play. Yes, it was dirty. I get it. I totally understand. But I liked it because Colorado State was the underdog in the situation, and they had to make a statement. Now, people can say you can make that statement, within the bounds of the game. I agree with all that. But at the same time, he came out and set the tone of like, yo, this is how this game is going to go. Just telling you. I'm just telling you. 9193 coming to you.
Hey, Scotty, I had to call back. Quick points. Two things. What the guy was alluding to about the kids and the people going to the middle of the field. First of all the kids are out warming up. If the opposing team comes to your side of the field and starts, you actually defending yourself. So you can't, like you said, you can't disrespect me and expect and tell me how to retaliate or how to respond. That's stupid. And I hate when people do that. The second thing is, when you had an earlier caller saying the people, Dion, when the plantation working, whatever, most of these people who call work for a white business or a corporation.
Facts.
It is not a lot of owned. So it's convenient to say, the plantation, when you're working for a white company yourself. So you're on the plantation, unless you're independently. So that's a stupid analogy. And then lastly, it's something you said earlier in this podcast. We do not cultivate our own talent, and I'm just speaking for the MEAG. I can't speak a lot on the swag. I'm a MEAG. Out of South Carolina State, I'm MEAG. We don't cultivate our own talent. We don't even train people to step in if something comes along. Say like Dion came on, and I guess the guy you're talking about from FAM. You don't put anything behind that.
Yes.
Because eventually you got to know at some point, if this person is talented as you're talking about, they're going to leave. So what do I have behind that? So if he leaves, we don't miss a beat. We don't do that. We don't do that at all. We don't cultivate. We don't train up for the next person in line to step in so this organization doesn't miss a beat. What we do is we'll ride it till the wheels fall off until when the person leaves, and then we'll complain. Oh, this, versus doing the job to prepare for the next day.
That's fair. That is fair, man. It is so frustrating because you have the labor already on campus. That's what's so crazy to me. It's not like you're a business trying to go find the talent. You have the talent on your campus, and you're just too lazy to make positions to be like, hey, we got this position. Because the guy I'm talking about is the SID for FAMU, right? He's the sports right. He's damn good at his job. But he's going to leave at some point in time. FAMU needs to have somebody in the wing, just like anybody else needs to have somebody in the wings to step in that position. You know what I'm saying?
Let me just hit a place home. I can't talk about nobody else's school. I'm gonna talk about my school, South Carolina State. We have no social media presence whatsoever. The stuff you see that's posted are independent people, alumni who love and bleed for the school. These individuals have came to the school, say, hey, let us handle your social media. And their thing is, well, we can't pay you. Well, you can barter something, you can make something, and all this can grow at the same time. But if they're putting out more content than your own athletic department, that's a problem. They don't even work for the school. They're doing it on the side because they love the school and they want the school to be promoted. And to me, that's a bad problem. And when you're saying money, some of this stuff don't cost you. The social media, and you more knowledgeable of this, most of these platforms are free, correct?
Absolutely.
So if it's free, what does it cost you to work something out with a person who's more tech savvy than anyone you have on the staff?
Listen, see, this is the thing, and I appreciate you calling in. See, the thing is like you don't think outside the box, right? And listen, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know everything about education system and federal government and all that type of stuff. But there is somebody in your legal team that you can get with on your board of directors or whatever and say, hey, what are we able to barter for kids that work with our social media? Can we give them credit for housing? Can we give them credit for food? Can we do something to benefit them outside of just paying them cash that we do not have? Can we credit them books? Can we? You get what I'm saying? Like there's something you can do.
Yeah. I can give them tuition. I can give them housing. Like you said, I can give them a free meal plan. I can give them something indirectly that benefits them other than money, cash changing hands, but something that takes off their plate. And in the meantime, if they grow, we grow. But they don't even think, these Negroes don't think of anything outside of the cookie cutter measure. That doesn't work. We're still operating like it's 1975.
Absolutely.
We're still doing stuff like that.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is, just take the same system you do for RAs and literally turn that into your communication department or your media department, right? So if you work for the media department, you get something or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it incentivized. That's the only reason kids are RAs. You know, they ain't RAs for fun. They get incentivized. They get incentivized for being an RA. So it's the same thing for kids being a part of your social media, your media department or your journalism department, right? So it's like, okay, you have a journalism, you like FAMU has a journalism degree, have a media department, right? Use the kids in that. It could be OJT, on the job training, if that's what you want to label it at. It could be so much things that go on, but people just do not think outside the box. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy.
And I just can't understand it. And it's just, this is last point. Roland Martin said this before he started his podcast, because I religiously followed him. I remember when he was on TV One. He said he saw the change coming in media, and no one saw it. No one wanted to accept it. Black media didn't want to accept it. And because he brought the equipment, he did everything to prepare for those changes that were coming about. He was able to move, adjust, and move on. Black media died out because the print media was going in a different direction, even for white media companies. Digital was coming. Nobody wanted to face the changes that were coming, and nobody made those adjustments. Same thing about HBCUs. We know things are going to evolve and going to change, and we don't want to make the adjustments.
No, and I totally agree. And I've heard people talk about how HBCUs could have cornered the online school market, right? You know, when it started getting up, and now you got Phoenix and all these other, like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no reason that I can't get a general degree from FAMU online. There should be no reason I can't do that. Right? It just doesn't make sense to me.
You have people who, and I'm talking from an educated standpoint, back before the online, before all these schools started popping up like Southern, South, and all these other white schools, man, there were people who were adamant at South Carolina State against online learning, not realizing you don't have to be in a classroom in brick and mortar, meaning you can literally grow your enrollment by enrolling the kid online.
It just come on, man.
You just didn't the time to invest and do that. But then it was under the tradition, they got to be in the classroom, they got to be on campus. No, they don't. No, they don't.
Listen, dollars don't have no location. Okay, that's why online businesses do so well. Dollars don't have no location. Just give me your money and let's work it out in the back end. That don't make sense to me. It don't make sense to me, man. But I appreciate, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. 8113 coming to you. They calling you live.
Hey, Scott. It is Tim from New Orleans, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. How about yourself? Talk to me.
I'm great, man. Hey, I was listening to you earlier, man. I had to get off and came back home, but I want to address something you talked about earlier about Deion and what he said when he was trying to get the athletes to come to Jackson State University, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Now, only difference, I know you're smart enough to know this. Only difference is a white coach is not going to say out loud or in public how he gets that athlete to come to their school.
That's fair.
But we have Deion, who was boisterous, very boisterous, and loved the cameras because he needs the camera to help him recruit. I think that's what he's trying to do anyway. He's using whatever avenue he can get to get these kids to come to Jackson, Mississippi, because you and I both, those type of players were not even thinking about coming to HBCU schools. Every time we watch television, they're on TV talking they're going to Clemson, Alabama, and those types of schools. Those kids never talk about going to HBCU, correct?
Yeah.
Not all of them anyway, that I know of. But I'm saying is, I want to go back and ask you,
what's the difference between a black lie and a white lie?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I would say it would feel like to me. This is how I see it. Right. This is how I see it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. When you say black and white lie, I feel like what's the difference if a friend lies to you or if a stranger lies to you, right? You know, like you would try to see a black person as your family or somebody that you connect to. And we know the slogan, all skin folk and kinfolk. We know that slogan. But you know, when a black person lied to you, you be like, dang, man, like I thought, you know, why would you do me like that? A white person, you be like, you supposed to do me like, you know, I would expect nothing less from you, right? So that's how I view it. But you can tell me how you perceived it.
Well, this is the deal is, you're right. We're more close to our own kind. And we're going to listen to our own kind very closely, what they say, right? Because they're like us. And we if we was paying attention,
the conference has been locked.
Throughout the years, what they do, we already know them. We already know the tendencies almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know the white person. So many years, white coaches that go to black neighborhoods, the hoods and everywhere, and go sit in the living rooms and talk to those parents and those kids that come to the schools. We don't blame the kids who choose no white school to go to HBCU. We always leave them separate. I don't know why. All their parents, why they won't send their kids to black institutions. We might not look at it as close as we should, but we in poor neighborhoods always want the best for us and our children. So the big picture is, we're more satisfied with sending our kids to white organizations because we think they're going to be better instead of sending them to black institutions? But the coach can sit there and say anything he wants to that parent because of his pale skin or whatever the case may be. And I don't mean to be racist. I'm saying
I get it.
He can sit there and because he's the way he looks, and he goes to a big school, and what he presents himself to them, and whatever he tells them, those parents don't know he's telling the truth or not. Because most of those kids go to those white organizations, sit on the bench for 2-3 years before they get to play.
That's fair. Let me say this, and I appreciate the call. Let me say this. I think when it comes to kids going to white institutions, right, like white college institutions, is because they believe that it's the easiest way to go pro. We already know what that is. That's the tip of the iceberg. Everybody think they're gonna go pro. If I go to Alabama, if I do well at Florida, if I do well at Florida State, I'm going pro, which is true, right? Number two is the resources, right? They're like, hey, my kid's gonna get the best of this, my kid's gonna get the best training, best food, best this, best that, which to some extent is true. So we can't take out the truth in it, right? But this is where the kicker is. When you say you're going to do it because of a better education, that's where you're like, nah, that ain't true, because of the way that they push black players in and out of the school and the system. They don't get the best education. I've talked to a lot of HBCU alums, and they'll say, Scotty, like, I've gone head to head against kids coming from UGA. I've gone head to head against kids Indiana University and whatever, UConn, all this, and they not as good as me. They don't know as much as me. You know what I'm saying? So I think there are levels of truthfulness of why you go to a PWI, and then there's levels of, I think, falsities and lies that get played on HBCUs is that they don't have a good education. So it's a bit of both. You get what I'm saying? It is a bit of both.
But one thing, I know you got to go. One thing we can't continue to do is, though, we can't say, okay, we got one black man who's trying to, I'll call it volunteer in some ways his services, even though, Jackson State did give Prime a chance without a degree, but he got there and he turned that school over many a times, right?
Yeah.
But when it's time for him to leave, all that we would remember is the things he said to us and to the students to get them there, because if he wouldn't have told those little black lies to get them there, let's say, they would have never gone in anyway. So, but the students have a choice to where they want to go. If probably those kids didn't have to leave, they could have stayed. But we all know why they came, so that's why they left to go with him. Thank you very much, brother.
No problem. Thank you so much for the call. These are my last 4 callers. Last 3 callers. Sorry, I'm gonna take these last 2 callers. Sorry. All right, so TG and 2790. TG, you're gonna be my last caller, right? 2790 coming for you, caller.
Hey, what's going on, Scotty? God told me to call you again, man.
Something is wrong with you. Go ahead.
Hey Scott, hey man. So you told me Coach Prime, God told him come Jack State, right? He stayed there, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
Said them
2.5.
black, said them brothers stealing from, robbing from, everything, right?
Yeah.
He said, out there. Then the devil called him to Colorado, right? And I'm pretty sure he he heard something about, what's going on, because he made some comments about, I think the students, the athlete eating, what, 2 meals a day?
Yeah.
And he got it up to 3 meals. You know what I'm saying? So he had to get 3 meals. Well, at Jackson State, he had to do what? Build a whole field. What else he had to do? Media. You know what I'm saying? He had to put a lot of work in. We know black folks ain't used to doing a lot of work, man. Moses had to put in a lot of work when he got to Israel to the promised land, didn't he? So Deion found the easy way to come in, and he said, it's too hard, man. Try to deliver our people. Too hard, man. He gave up on the mission.
Yeah.
As a fact, he gave up on the mission. It's too hard, man. He ain't the Moses that he wanted to be, man.
Listen, okay. I do think that Deion I think he bit off a little. He didn't know how much work he was going to have to do. I do agree to some extent of that. But I don't think, outside of the fans and alums, I don't think the administration was fully supportive of what Deion was trying to do. That is my personal opinion. I do have some insight to that situation of some of the no's that he did get pushed back on, but listen. Listen. This is the funny thing with this. There's a funny thing that when it comes to Deion, right? There's a point of Deion that I'm like, I really rock with, and then there's like a equator, and I'm like, I can't rock with that other side. And to me, my main issue, right, was just that I wish I would have seen a lot more black people surrounding him in the media space. That's probably the biggest issue that I had. Like, you had Phil Minotti, you had, some of those cats, those young cats that, and I get that. But when they was doing the documentary for like Smack Entertainment and stuff like that, it was a full white crew. Like, I know it's Barstool Sports, right? I get it. But to me, I'm just
exactly.
like, why not put your people in those, like, I'm nitpicking, and I can be very conscious and say that is a nitpick. And I just was like, I would have preferred it to be more HBCU people behind the camera so they could give a certain perspective and shoot it a certain way and give it a certain feel. But hey, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? You do what you do. That was my only critique.
Let me ask you a question. Did the SWAC accept that? Are they still negotiating that deal with Byron Allen, or they just opted out completely?
Oh, no, they're in that deal. Oh, no, the SWAC is in that deal. Listen, I'll tell you this. The best thing that could ever happen to the SWAC is Deion being Deion the commissioner of the SWAC. Shit, y'all Bama's going to be in the Sun Belt. Y'all Bama's going to be in the Sun Belt. Okay, like that. But that's just, to me, that is just how impactful Deion is. You know what I'm saying? His name, his aura, it rings bells, and you can never take that away from him, right? He's a great businessman, he's a great marketer. You can't take that away from him. But at the end of the day,
Well, you gotta look at it now. Listen, Byron Allen finna try to acquire ABC, right?
You said what?
So if he gets, Byron Allen is trying to acquire ABC, right?
Yeah, he's trying to buy ABC.
Okay, now you think about ABC. See, you got to remember, Byron Allen made his money through a lot of small markets, right? The HBCU, which Deion brought exposure to it, I give that credit to him. That's a small market. There's money in that market. I was watching a sister the other day on this entrepreneur program. She started marketing HBC apparel, right? And she was explaining that nobody was doing this. So she got various licenses agreement with certain schools, right? But Byron Allen, if he gets that ABC deal, and then if SWAC can build a partnership with them now, SWAC schools or HBC can build a partnership with them now, that can carry on to other ventures down the line.
Stop. So
there's a market for everything.
Stop. You have to understand what you're saying and what the deal is. If the SWAC, listen, I'm gonna be as nice as I can breaking this down to you. If the SWAC and Byron had a partnership, I would 100% agree. I would 100% agree with what you're saying. They do not have a partnership. What they have is a slave deal. They have sold their rights to Byron, and Byron has complete autonomy over what he does with it. So it does not matter if he partners with, if he buys ABC and puts the SWAC on ABC. The SWAC can't make any more money than what they sold their rights for. You get what I'm saying?
So they do have a binding contract. So he has a binding contract with the SWAC conference.
Yes, he does. He absolutely does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a done deal. But appreciate the call though. Listen, I get what he's saying, and if Dr. McNugget was smarter than the average bear, that deal would have been a partnership. So however big HBCU grew, the SWAC's revenue would have grew with it. See how that works? But when you sell your soul, you ain't getting it back. You sold it. It's gone. You going to hell. Okay? Ain't no redeeming that. Okay? Ain't no redeeming that. Unless God says he's redeeming you, but ain't no redeeming that. All right, TG, coming to you. Last caller. What's up, TG?
Howdy, what's good, bro?
What's up, man?
Man, you cut the hair, bro. Why you do it, Scotty?
You know, listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, TG, because you my guy. So I have been having visions, right, and dreams, and every vision that God would show me, I didn't have my hair, and it didn't make sense to me because I was like I got dreads. Like, why wouldn't my hair be in the vision, right? So I talked to Key. Key told me some stuff that God told her to tell me, and then I was like, okay, so I got to be obedient and I got to cut it. So I cut it. That's just, that. Listen, that's the honest to God truth of why I cut my hair. Honest to God truth.
And hey, now I can respect that. But listen, that's definitely the first question. Man, I need you to change the thumbnail for me, bro. For the last caller, it need to say TG's impact on Scotty and 60 seconds of why these folks ain't hitting this like button. So TG's impact on Offscript in 60 seconds, not minutes, because I ain't got that much time. 60 seconds of why they not hitting this like button. Bruh, I've been watching you kind of back and forth. Well, I've been seeing people, the watching list go up to 700, 800. And these Bama's ain't hitting like buttons, bruh. They love to hear this little smoke about, Deion. We ain't talking about Deion, folks. This is TG's impact on Offscript and why y'all Bama's ain't hitting the like button. So I need all y'all Bama's to hit the like button because it's the last 60 seconds now. It's seconds now. It's not minutes. I ain't got that much time. It's only a few seconds. Click the like button. Get my man likes up to 700, 800, like all you Bama's who watching it like me at work. And keep this thing going. God, you've been on here for hours, bro. I just want these folks to get these likes of that. I don't think they really understand the work you be putting in, bro. You don't have to do it, but you know what I'm saying? It's entertaining. You speaking facts about stuff. You be able to have conversations with people about different opinions here and there. And what Bama's do, they can't hit like buttons, bro. That jump be making my skin ball. But hey, hit these likes up, Scotty. I'm always watching you, bro. Do your thing, bro.
Hey, appreciate it, TG. All right, let me listen. This is a Christian platform as much as I can make it one. Okay, let me explain something to you guys. I don't have a problem with, and I said this earlier. I know you came in late, so I see you said you came in late. I already said if Deion would have kept it at God called me for this job, I wouldn't have an issue, right? I wouldn't have no issue. That where it gets finicky is when you say God called me to do this, and God called me to bring the people, and God called me to do this, and then you start looking at the works of it, and you're like, well, where does this all transpire, right? That's like I said, that's the only thing for me, right? That's the only thing for me. God can say, yeah, God wanted me to get this job, or God wanted me to take this job, or God wanted me to move. It happens, right? It definitely happens. Now, let me go back to this person. Since when does God tell you how to style your hair? How about if you actually open the book and read it, the Bible? He actually told Samson not to cut his hair. And guess who cut his hair? The girl who he was laying with. I believe her name was Delilah. I could be off on that one. But God told Samson not to cut his hair. That's where his strength was at, in his hair. So do not cut it. And then he laying next to some chick that he like, and she asks him the question, where do you get your strength from? Where do you do this? Where do you do that? And he running his mouth, right? He running his mouth, and he tells the girl where he gets his haircut at, and bam. That's what happens. So when people ask, so when you ask the question, when does God, if you would open the book, God tells people all the time what to do with their hair and all that type of stuff. And if you want to get back into the Old Testament, God was actually if you go to, I believe it's in Deuteronomy, right? If you go to the Old Testament, God was very strict about how you should wear your hair and things like that. So if you really, say if you open the book and actually read, you would understand. You get what I'm saying? So so if that happened to Samson, so God can't do it again? So what are we talking about? Because you asked, when would God do that? And God did do that. So once again, Miss Jazzy, to you, read the book. That's in the book. Mic drop. Anywho, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Like, read the Bible. How about that? Read the Bible. So, anywho, you couldn't have. You can't if you ask a dumbass question like that. When did God? If you ask the dumb question, just say you didn't. Just say if you forgot. Don't say you asked the dumbass question. When does God tell you how to style your hair? And I gave you a biblical example, and now you're like, I do. I don't judge. No, ninja, you lost. That's what happened. You lost. Okay, Miss Jazzy? And as women, you're trying to flip the conversation as most women do. Oh, I really didn't mean it like that. I really meant it like this. You just took it like that. No, you lost. Okay? You lost. You lost the conversation. Stop it. Stop it. Go on somewhere. Come on, man. Stop playing me. Stop. Listen. I'm not, listen. I told you this is about as Christian as this is about the Christianest platform you're gonna find on YouTube. Okay, when it comes to sports. Okay. So listen, listen. I'll pray for forgiveness tomorrow, but today I'm on your ass. Anyway, listen, guys, I appreciate all y'all for tuning into the show. As always, you already know what it is. Tonight, 8 o'clock. Me, Perry, we breaking down all the HBCU games of last week. You get what I'm saying? We breaking down all the games of last Saturday, man, and we're talking everything under the sun. So please, you already know what it is. Be here, come back, 8 o'clock. Listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm a holler. God bless.